Reinforcements, understudies, seat fillers, they were all required and they got it done for Carlton. So what did it do to Snakes and Ladders? We'd watched the tumble of the Blues. Will they find themselves back inside?
Quite boring at the top there,
As a result, just too much steady as she goes, Robbo. It was Fremantle who paid the big price.
Yeah.
Not that there was much wrong with the way that they played, but that is the big slip, isn't it? So for the moment, Carlton are in. There's a lot of forecasting going on. You wouldn't want to make too many assumptions the way all of this has gone, but the little bit of forecasting around how it could look with 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. They're fighting for the right to host Port Adelaide and the Giants. If Carlton can hang on to 8th, they'll be there against Brisbane at the Gabba and the Bulldogs and Hawthorn.
Imagine if it's the Bulldogs and Hawthorn, how quick that game will be. My God.
Be one of the great elimination finals. Don't get buried too far in that, though, because a lot can happen before then. What did you make of Carlton?
Well, the last thing I said to you on Wednesday night was have a good weekend, but we spoke about the possibilities of Carlton. The power of the mind, the art of coaching, the ability of humans to get up and perform. This game was won not on the weekend. Now, the players went out and did it. This game was won in the build-up by Michael Voss, the coach. Great headline there, Blue Steel. Grabbing this team, grabbing his mob and getting them to believe that what can be achieved. And then that was the mindset, and they went out and did it, led by a couple of their senior players. And it wasn't just Patrick Cripps, who was absolutely almighty.
Yeah, but it started with Patrick Cripps from the very first clearance in a circumstance that you knew would suit his demeanour and character.
I fall in love with players, I do. I know this is ridiculous, Jared, I'm 57 years of age. I love Patrick Cripps. He's a good bloke, he gives us so much when he comes in here. And when I watch him play, I look at him and think, my God, you've got some qualities as a footballer. He's not overly fast, he's not a brilliant high mark, but he's one of the best players in the competition. He does it on skill and grit, and he's just a fabulous captain. And I watched him on the weekend, and I watched the Holland brothers. About time you step up in a big game, you boys. And Mark Pitney, people don't even know whether you can ruck or not. And he was fantastic. And camp, no one knows you can play forward. Go out there and kick 4 goals. And it wasn't just them, it was collective. It was, and it's a cliche to say it was a win for the ages, because it might be forgotten about over the next month. But within Carlton, what this does for Michael Voss, when he sits down with his group from this moment on this year, he can say, trust me, look what we can do. And they can look back and nod their heads, say, yes, you're right. Because there's doubts. There would have been doubts creeping in. It was a brilliant win. West Coast were pathetic, Jerry.
Yeah, they were shameful.
They were pathetic. But just push them aside, Carlton had to do what they did. And they did it. They just did it with such grit. It was great.
The qualities to get after it and then... So not to get disheartened during the first quarter when they got their entries but they didn't convert them into goals. They didn't let the anxiety get hold of them when shots were missed. And Kemp initially didn't have his forward craft. He grew into that. And then the youngsters all had sort of single moments. There was a one-on-one that they'd lose, but not to be dragged down by that, just to accept that that was going to be part of their day. And I sat down to make pages of notes, and at about the 10-minute mark of the third quarter, I just shut my book and went, I'm just going to enjoy this.
Yeah, it was
because they set it in the second quarter with their hunt. And then the Eagles didn't want a bar of it.
No, they
didn't want a bar of the battle, did they?
No, they'd surrendered. It really was. We had one team fighting to the death and the other team had already laid down.